In this video, we'll create a schema artifact for a file-based data resource. Now, there are a variety of wizards to create schemas. You can create schemas from delimited files, from a type, from a database table definition, or even from a SQL select statement. In this example, we'll create a schema for a delimited file. That is, a file with single character or multiple character delimiters between each field. We'll start the delimited schema wizard, and the easiest way to describe your file to the wizard is simply go out on the file system, identify your file, and import it into the wizard. The wizard will list the first 10 lines of your file. Now you can examine the structure of the file and note what is the field delimiter, in this case a comma, and what is the record delimiter. In this case it'll be a carriage return and line feed, because the file was created on a Windows computer. So once you've determined this information, you select the field delimiter. Now, as you can see from the drop-down list, there's already an entry for many of the single character delimiters, but if you want, you can click the other option and enter a character combination or a unique character. And in the record delimiter, you can see that you have a choice between carriage return plus line feed for those files that were created on Windows, and simply the line feed, which is the delimiter for files created on Unix or Linux. In the next window, we indicate to the wizard that we want to use the header entries as the names of the fields in the schema artifact. You could, in fact, enter any field name that you want. Next, pick the location where you want to store the schema artifact, give the schema artifact a name, and click the Finish command button. Once the schema is created, you can open it in the schema editor and edit it if necessary. Select the schema, right-click, and click Open. The schema editor opens. Now, on the left-hand side of the editor, you see the header row names. This is the representation of your data in the source file. For file data, expressor treats all data as if it's a string type. Whether it's a numeric or a datetime, it still will be represented as a string when it's originally read into the data integration application. On the right-hand side of the schema editor, you see our composite type. The composite type describes how each row in this table, or the data, will be represented within expressor. In this case, it says all of the data will be of the string type. Now, that might be appropriate in many applications, but in this case, the place attribute, which is the president's chronological position in the order of precedence, would be more appropriate if it were an integer type. So we highlight that entry and click the Edit command button in the ribbon bar. This opens up the editor where we can change the type of the attribute. Now next, we may need to go into the mapping editor. Since every piece of data in a file is considered to be a string, the mapping editor allows you to define for expressor how to convert that string value into the different type within the application. Or if you're writing data, how to convert the different type within the application into a string for writing into the file. In this case, we make it very explicit to expressor that we do not want any decimal points after the value. Now that we've edited the schema, we can simply save it, and we're done. Notice that in using the schema editor, we've been able to change the type of a field from string to integer, thereby reducing the amount of coding we need to do in the application.